Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are tackling that exciting but often frustrating feature built right into your pocket. I'm talking about the mobile phone's ultra-wide lens. It promises those sweeping, expansive shots, the kind that grab architectural grandeur or dizzying streetscapes. But if you've ever tried to use it when the sun dips low, you know it can deliver a disappointingly muddy, noisy mess.
That's so true, and that's exactly why we're launching this deep dive. We've got a stack of photographic analysis and technical notes here, and we're going to uncover the cold, hard facts. We're talking about the technical and financial compromises that are, baked right into mobile ultra-wide camera quality.
So our mission today is to figure out why this one lens is so often the weakest performer on your phone, even when it's sold as this major selling point.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this right away. When the light dims, what are the specific, immediate limitations the source material highlights? What starts failing first?
The notes are really consistent on this, and very precise. When you switch to that ultra-wide lens, especially in a, let's say, difficult scenario like a high-contrast night scene.
Right, like city lights.
Yeah, exactly. Or even just low-light interiors. You instantly run into three major symptoms of, well, poor design.
Okay, what are they?
First, a dramatic reduction in detail. Edges become soft and textures just blur together. Second, you see significant noise. That grainy distortion that just takes over the shadows.
Stuff that ruins the whole picture.
It does. And third, just a general failure in managing high contrast light. You get terrible flaring or chromatic aberration around streetlights, that weird purple fringing.
We all expect some quality drop-off, I guess. We are pushing the boundaries of what a tiny piece of glass can do, but the disparity in the specs, that's the truly shocking part of this research.
It is.
The notes use a specific phone example where the primary lens is a massive 48 megapixels, yet the ultra-wide lens, the one sitting right next to it, is running at a mere 8 megapixels.
Exactly. That is a disparity of 80% resolution loss within the same piece of hardware.
Wow.
And this dramatic step down from 48 megapixels all the way down to just 8, that's the fundamental root cause of the problem.
So why? Why not just put a 12 megapixel sensor in there? Or better yet, another 48 megapixel one?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And it really boils down to geometry and cost.
Okay.
The ultra-wide lens requires a physically smaller sensor because of where it's housed. It's tucked into the corner of the camera array. A smaller sensor means less light gathering capability. Full stop.
Less light, less data.
Less data. And on top of that, because it's capturing such a wide field of view, the limited light it does gather is spread really thin across a huge amount of data. So those 8 megapixels are simply trying to do way too much with too little photon data.
And I read that it gets worse.
It does, because the camera system is burning up even more of those precious 8 megapixels just to digitally correct the severe barrel distortion.
The fisheye effect.
The fisheye effect, exactly. It's inherent in ultra-wide lenses, so you are losing detail before you even hit the shutter. It's a foundational compromise built for minimizing bulk and maximizing profit, not for performance.
That makes perfect sense. So it's a technical sacrifice, really, made for convenience and cost containment, which means that 8 megapixel spec becomes this floor of disappointment for anyone who's serious.
That's a good way to put it.
So if we look past the problem, what resolution does the source material suggest is the actual, acceptable standard for quality results?
The research suggests a significant uplift. For a user with diverse interests, someone focused on, say, the fine lines in architecture, the complexity of street scenes.
Or just someone who wants to crop in later.
Exactly. Someone who needs the ability to crop and edit without immediate degradation. For them, the desired quality levels start at 12 megapixels. Then they move up through 13MP, 16MP, and ideally they hit parity with the main lens at 48 or even 50 megapixels.
So 12 megapixels is the absolute baseline, just for the detail to hold up.
It is the absolute floor. And what's fascinating here is that the baseline expectation is a 50% jump from that common 8 megapixel example we mentioned.
Right.
And this minimum threshold, it's crucial because of the subjects you just brought up. If you're shooting grand architecture, you need the resolution to keep the straight lines straight, to prevent that color fringing around high contrast edges.
And for street photography?
For street photography, you need the resolution to survive the heavy noise reduction and post-processing you often need in those mixed light environments. 8 megapixels simply cannot hold up, not when you start demanding that level of technical quality.
This shifts the whole discussion, doesn't it? We move from asking, is the ultra-wide lens useful, to How much does a useful ultra-wide lens actually cost?
Hmm.
And this is where it gets really interesting. If you, the listener, decide you need that 12 megapixel baseline quality, what financial tier do you suddenly find yourself in?
You immediately exit the budget and even the mid-range market. It happens just like that. The notes, which use Malaysian ringgit for local pricing analysis, show that to get a consistent ultra-wide quality of 12 MP or better, you're typically starting in the MYR 1100 to MYR 1300 range, and often significantly higher.
So globally, you're being pushed into the flagship or at least high mid-range territory.
Absolutely. We're talking about phones that are serious investments.
And that is the critical financial crossroads
Yeah.
because we connect this to the bigger picture. Once you're spending the equivalent of, say, MYR 1100 to MYR 1500 or more, you have entered a price bracket where buying a dedicated high-quality used DSLR or refurbished mirrorless camera becomes a highly compelling option.
It becomes a superior option in many cases. The user has to analyze the true value proposition.
Right.
At that price point, you are trading convenience for pure performance. A dedicated camera system offers three things a mobile sensor just cannot compete with: vastly larger sensors that gather exponentially more light, interchangeable lenses built with superior glass, and full manual control.
Over everything. Exposure, aperture, focus.
Everything. For someone serious about architectural or detailed street photography, the money spent on a top-tier phone is now competing directly with equipment designed solely for those demands.
It forces a psychological shift in how you buy something. You have to ask, are you spending, say, $1,200 on a phone that happens to take decent pictures?
Yeah.
Or $1,200 on a camera system that happens to be a phone?
Exactly.
The sources are really highlighting the fact that manufacturers are often building a camera stack that is, well, it's fundamentally dishonest. The main lens promises professional quality, but the ultra-wide lens is often just a token gesture. It's there to tick a box on the feature list.
That's a powerful way to put it. The inclusion of the ultra-wide is a marketing bullet point, but the engineering budget, it stops short of delivering true quality. It forces you, the consumer, to pay flagship prices just to mitigate a built-in technical compromise. The discussion moves entirely away from simple portability and towards a cold calculation of performance versus price.
So what does this all mean for the person holding the phone? The core takeaway here seems crystal clear. The pursuit of high-quality ultra-wide shots quickly pushes mobile photography into a significantly higher cost bracket. And that forces you, the consumer, to make a decisive choice between the ultimate convenience of your phone and the superior dedicated capability of a separate system.
Indeed. We see that the ultra-wide lens is consistently the weakest link in the mobile camera stack, and it's because of that intentional resolution disparity. So if you are paying a premium, that MYR 1500 plus equivalent, to ensure you get that 12 MP or better quality, you have to ask yourself, how much of that money is purely for the convenience of having it all in your pocket?
Yeah, and at what price point does that convenience just cost more than pure, uncompromised performance?
That's the question.
That leaves me with a final thought then. Since the ultra-wide lens is often where mobile manufacturers skimp the most, the next time you're reading a specs sheet for a premium phone, look really closely at the secondary lenses. If you are paying top dollar and the ultra-wide is still sitting at 8 megapixels, how confident are you in the quality of the glass and sensor being used for the other components? Something to consider the next time you're weighing convenience against capability.
A great point to mull over. Until next time, keep digging into those details.